right. Welcome back to the New Patients Now podcast. My name is Flint Geyer. As always, I will be your host today. And today we're going to talk about something that relates very much to what it takes to get more new patients now, how to attract more patients to your practice, but also how to do so in maybe a way that you haven't thought of before, or a way that you have overlooked, or maybe just don't quite understand. And that is going to be the topic of memberships in your practice. And so I have a guest with me today. I'm super excited to dive into some of the myths, the misconceptions, but also just some of the straight up funny things people that get wrong around dental memberships. Ryan Corby from Smile Advantage. Ryan, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, Flynn, thanks so much. I've been looking forward to this and love the setup. Nice background there. Looks nice. Thanks for having me on. Excited
Absolutely.
To talk about this and where membership relates to new patients and just making a more efficient, more profitable practice.
Yeah, I love it. Well, before we dive in, obviously, we've known each other for a number of years now. We've got some shared clients from, all the way from startup practices to establish, 8-figure practices that are, utilizing memberships in different ways. But I mean, tell me, how did you even get into the dental membership business?
So myself, marketing sort of tech guy, and ran across some really great guys that are general practice dentists that a number of years ago were really just seeing the limitations and the frustrations with the old way of dentistry and the traditional insurance model, and just the frustrations and challenge that come with that, and the lack of profitability or the declining profitability and all those problems that happen. And they really just embrace the idea of membership dentistry, or we call it fee-for-service dentistry, or going out of network, and really just reducing the dependency on the traditional insurance model. And they just saw that the future was going to be more of that for them: better practice, better margins, better team operation, and so on and so on. So really, they just started doing it out of their practice, kind of manually, DIY it, we call it, and spreadsheets and sticky notes and stuff, and offering this alternative to insurance to their patients. And it, caught like wildfire. They didn't originate the original idea, but really embraced it early on. We're early adopters of that concept. It's been around for a long time, but when it kind of started hitting mainstream, then it got real serious, and that kind of turned into them teaching their other colleagues and schoolmates and friends in the industry how to do it, and kind of quickly turned into a consulting business. And then fast forward to where we are today, we've created a really robust software platform and payments platform that really helps grow and just really explode and enhance and support practices' mission to either completely eliminate dependency on insurance, or just reduce it, or have an alternative to traditional insurance. So here we are.
Love it. Here we are. So, it's funny, as you were going through that, and I'm looking at some of my notes here, over the last couple of days, right? Because obviously we're in the people business of the practice, right? And ultimately we all are. But I was listening to a bunch of calls, because every once in a while I do that, and just, what exactly are people saying, right? And probably went through, 50, not a lot, right? We probably analyze, 4,000 or so front desk team members a month. And so however many calls that ends up being across the board. And I hear what I believe are membership plans positioned in all kinds of different ways, right? So, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong here, because I haven't asked these people specifically, but I hear we have a savings plan, we have an in-house insurance plan, we have a membership, we have are all of those the same thing? Because I can't imagine they're actually offering insurance in the office, right? So why are there so many names for the same thing?
I think so many people, just depends on their mindset in the practice of what they want to call it and what they perceive this alternative as. And so if we bucket all of those as an alternative to traditional insurance, then yes, they all are the same thing. But what we've really found in the number of years we've been successful, the highly successful practices really narrow in on terminology and mindset for one thing. And that's really calling it a membership instead of you nailed them all, discount plan, savings plan, and you don't have anything else, now we're going to offer you this last ditch effort sort of plan. And you all are experts of verbiage and mindset and communication between staff and patients, and you know more than anybody about how just conveying a message to somebody. It's all about messaging and communication. And so even if at the end of the day, the thing they're offering is the same and it's a bundled set of services for an annual fee or a discounted fee or a monthly fee, really the successful ones come across and present it as something more exclusive. And we like to use the term membership. So kind of to your question about, who's getting it wrong and who's getting it right, we've seen getting the successful ones are the ones that really look at it and present it as a better option than insurance, not, if you don't have anything else, we're going to offer you this sort of like the low budget car at the front of the car lot sort of option, or only what you can afford sort of concept. So switching that mindset and that perception of what you're selling in that membership away from the savings, discount, cheap, scarcity mindset sort of perspective to this is exclusive, this is our membership, and this is higher quality, and the perceived value is much greater there.
Yeah. No, I mean, right. I mean, we have memberships with our members. And so, right, I think it's number one, it sounds better, right? It's like when you go to a practice for the first time and they say, hey, this is our waiting room. It's like, oh, lovely. Right. It's like the same feeling I get when someone says, here's our discount plan. I'm like, oh,
totally.
No, like the positioning is just, that's not. Because that, I think when we get into some of the misconceptions people have around memberships, I feel like a lot of those actually come out of the verbiage and how we position it, right? So if you're afraid a membership plan is going to cost you money, well, it might be because you keep trying to call it a discount plan, right? So when people come to you guys, so obviously, there's other places and people that they can do membership plans through, and there are some big players and there are some smaller ones. But what do you often see people get wrong who come to you guys and they've tried to execute a membership plan before and there's like, that didn't work? What are they usually getting wrong?
How long do we got for this podcast?
Might need part two.
We touched on probably one of the biggest ones, which is just the mindset of what do you call it and how do you present it? Because from that flows a lot of stuff, what your team buy-in is, what the perception of the practice in general is, the value that they are getting from your practice. So calling it a discount, an insurance, something like that. First off, some compliance issues with calling it insurance. You should not call it that anyways. But even a discount, savings, et cetera. Again, you're just right out of the gate telling somebody this is a low value product that we have, which I've never met a dental practice that strives to produce low quality dentistry or a low quality experience. It should be the opposite. So that's one. The other is really just looking at it as, I guess, a side thing. And so another thing that we see often time again, differentiator between successful and high performing practices with a membership and the non-ones, or the ones that start it and sort of flop and give up or never really have success, is really comes down to team execution. And that's something that we really lean into a lot when we go through our implementation and training process with our clients is, this should be a team rollout. And you guys are amazing with working with teams and more than anybody, rolling something out across the entire team is how it's going to be successful. And just relying on, the person that is the treatment coordinator to close the deal or present the membership or plan or whatever it is, at the end of the visit, those are the ones that really don't go anywhere. I mean, they can be successful in their own right, but the ones that really crush it are the ones that from the first phone call, they set that expectation. Here's what we have here. Here's how we operate here. Here's what we do here at this practice. This is what being our family at this practice means, to the first, the reception and the phone, checkout, treatment coordinators, whatever doctor they're seeing, hygienists, the assistants. I mean, we always say the assistants can almost be some of the most key staff members to really present a membership plan to a patient because they're kind of mostly sitting there with them, and especially when they're sitting there talking about nothing, it's a great opportunity. So, there's no less than 10 conversations that your whole staff should and could have with a patient about the membership, so that come time to sign up at the end or at the beginning, they have been sold on the idea and really bought into this practice does this and this is a great thing. So that's another, probably the second biggest thing is that they practices just rely on one person to sort of like talk to so-and-so at the front desk or treatment coordinator and they'll go through our membership with you. So that's sort of another point.
So we're over relying on like this one person who's going to be the membership, czar in the office, right? I mean, we say all the time, right? If you want to seriously move the needle in the new patient number, right? Everyone has to be in the new member in the new patient business, right?
Absolutely.
But I guess now, right? I kind of slipped there. Everybody also needs to be in the new member business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. One of my partners, we were talking this morning, and he said, we are furthering in this idea of if you come to our practice and you don't have insurance, you leave with a membership. Like that is what you do here. And we have two types of patients here. And, and I think really ultimately that bakes into the culture, just like the culture of your practice attracts and facilitates and brings in new patients. The culture can also be, or your memberships could be deeply embedded into the culture of your practice too. Yeah. And they obviously coincide with each other significantly.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, because if my insurance changes, right? I mean, there are patients out there and practice out there, if they don't position appropriately, right? If my insurance changes, I come back and like, we're not a network anymore. You're like, oh, cool. I'm gonna bounce because there's nothing special about this place, right?
Absolutely.
So, man, that sticking power of that, I mean, just a lifetime value extension, I'm sure has to be pretty impressive. Okay, so if I walk into an office and they have a membership plan or whatever they're calling it today, right? I'm seeing all kinds of things. I think it's a good point to say you probably shouldn't call it an insurance plan, right? It's probably a good catch for anybody who is considering that, right? Because patient may feel like it sounds the same, but let's talk a little bit about the insurance elephant in the, I could say the room, but it's the industry, right?
Sure.
So I assume most of the people who are looking for membership plans or things of that nature is they're trying to get away from insurance dependency, which you kind of said earlier, or they just don't accept insurance. So they're trying to find alternatives. Now, how does that actually play out differently for those two practices?
I mean, you don't have to tell anybody how complicated in the staff and the hours and the aggravation that it is to constantly deal with insurance companies that are denying claims. And I had a great one of our clients did this awesome social media video, and they went through a Starbucks and made this whole funny thing about their drink at Starbucks getting denied, all the extra add-ons that they had, and they were handed a Diet Coke, and they said, "No, this is actually what your insurance covers." Great viral clip there. But the concept
That's fantastic.
it was really great. But it just goes to show you what the difference in the headache of your office. I mean, people have this fallacy that we go to membership and we're not going to get as many patients. And if we have this big shiny, insurance sign over our office, it's just going to bring, accept it and they will come sort of idea. And there is some realistic fear that, if they go completely out of network and don't take insurances, that their patient base is going to drop. That's okay. That's actually could be great. You could see less patients. You're going to have a higher margin, less chaos and franticness in your practice. Now, truth is, you might dip a little bit, but you're going to roar back to successful practice, levels if you offer a full membership. If you go that whole route, just because there's less headache across the board. I mean, think about how many hours waiting on the phone your team's doing, and the frustrations, like you just said. I came to your practice last time, and now I got to pay something. I've been here for 15 years, Dr. So-and-so. And so just the headache and the aggravation and the disingenuous relationship between the practice and the patient that insurance will sort of, continues to move down the road is aggravating. So you go to a membership model, it's more of a country club feel, and talk about loyalty. We talked about that. If somebody buys into a membership, they're invested in it. They're going to be much more likely to not only come back for their 2 annual cleanings or whatever, but they're going to be much more likely to accept treatment. I mean, the stats go on about that, that they've bought into something and I want to use it. It's like you go to Costco, you don't just keep paying a Costco membership if you don't go there. So you're more bought into using it. And the whole overall experience for a membership patient at a practice is just better. And it's a less chaotic, confusing situation for the patient, but also the staff. So, could go on about those expenses and things like that for the practice, but just eases everybody and everything for a practice that embraces that.
So what does that look like? If I'm a skeptical doctor listening to this, and I've got a buddy down the road who's got a membership and he's complained about it, and I see the people at the big conventions, right? They got their big booths and they're talking about, oh, get your membership, right? How does this actually impact the stats of the business, right? Like, I have to imagine patient retention, it can be helpful. And you mentioned case presentation. Like, do you have any stats around those that just for that person would be impactful on what this actually does?
Sure. I mean, I think we can kind of talk to maybe again some of the things that they get wrong or practice get wrong or the fallacies, and that is that that I need to give a discount to patients, and that's sort of this bad thing. And it's like, look at the numbers of the discount you're giving by taking an insurance patient. You're taking a 40% hit on an insurance patient. In reality, your mega write-offs and your expenses go up. And, whereas you could even lower your fees, your fees could be what they are. You could still give a cash discount to a patient on production and still, end of the day, dentist comes with more home in their pocket from doing production because the patient has felt value. They get a small discount if you want to off of the production, and it's less headache. You're more profitable for hours. So, analytics are all over the place, with that. But in general, again, patients are just more bought into it. So the economics of the business, payroll costs are going down because you don't have somebody full time on the phone all the time checking that. And patients are more regular. They're more their treatment is clear when they're presented with a treatment plan. It's not this back and forth of is this covered, is it not? And we use the term of
Yeah.
practices are now unrestricted. I mean, that's the whole point. Their unrestricted care is what they're now able to provide to the patients. And you're not getting to this game of diagnosing to the nearest deductible, like, well, what does my deductible cover? Okay, I'll do that. Well, but you really need this to stay healthy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, well, I'm only going to do that. So removing that constriction from the practice allows them to provide better health, better care. And every dentist got into dentistry to care for people, to help people get healthier. And, going to that membership model just really goes to that. So weaving all the way back to the original question there, economics of it, you can just see the picture painted there, headache, chaos, and expenses and frantic, operation of the business to maybe even a little bit slower pace and higher quality and patients willing to accept treatment because it's clear what is covered and what's not. Overall, it's going to be hit the bottom line of the practice for sure. And that's just on existing patients. And we obviously have a lot to talk about with new patients as well. In the busy, loud world of online marketing and marketing to attract new patients, to you and for their practices, maybe within a square mile, everybody's trying to offer free whitening and $0 cleanings and whatever. But if you have a membership, that definitely sets you apart, and that is a really attractive thing to bring in a patient, and you're not getting some sort of scammy, low budget, setting that terrible mindset right from the beginning. You're perceiving value. Hey, come join us. No insurance, no problem. You can join our family and receive the same better care than you would if you even came with insurance.
Yeah. It's so funny. I don't think as much about just how much easier the presentation is if you get to pull out the insurance component, right? There's no question of like, well, hey, like I went to the dentist the other day, or this was a couple months ago, I guess. Right. And I see one number on the piece of paper, but then they call me 2 months later. And I was like, but the piece of paper. It's like, well, it turns out they didn't. And I was like, I'd rather you just told me. Like, I don't care either way, but I would just prefer to know. Right. Yeah. And I even gave them all my stuff ahead of time. I was a good patient, which usually I wait to give them my stuff when I get there. But I felt good about myself. I had followed the steps, and I was like, great. There should be no surprises because they've had my stuff for a week. And
just look what that does to the relationship between the practice and the patient. The game of dentistry is lifetime value. I don't want to have to shop around. I want to go to the same dentist until wherever, and those are deep relationships that I was joking, say it's an intimate relationship. Their hands are in your mouth. Your hands are in their mouth. Like, it's a pretty intimate relationship.
Well, maybe not the other way around, right?
Depends on the patient whose hands are in whose mouths. Either way, it's an intimate relationship, and it should be. And so, when you think about the people that you have the most intimate relationships with, if there's some fracture of trust in there, it's not great. And and if it's like, oh, I told my wife something, and then I came back later and I was like, I know I told you that, but that didn't really. That's a problem. It's not great. And it's terrible analogies as those are. I think that's true with your dental practice. And when you're leaving. This is ultimately what it comes down to. When you're leaving a third party sort of in that scenario into the relationship between you, it's room for disaster. And the membership model is this is between you and us, and this is what we do together. And that's something that we've at Smile Advantage, we've really put into our culture and our core. When we help a practice launch their membership or start it from little to go big or vice versa, or go the other way, it's really important to us to say, this is your thing. Like this is going to be in your culture. You don't want to call it a membership. Don't call it a savings plan, but so-and-so family VIP plan, so-and-so
Right.
wellness plan. Like, this is not Smile Advantage that you're selling. This is a relationship between you and your patient that you're putting together. And this should look like you and feel like you. And we get a whole bunch of stuff with our marketing and our clients that we give brochures to and custom design, all that stuff. And it's really, really highly custom to that practice, because it needs to like simulate that close relationship between them and their parent, or them and their patients. And you can do that really well. Or you can do that terribly, with a membership.
Yeah.
So the ones that we successful, like, make it their thing, and it is their thing, and it's deeply ingrained in their culture, and it's those are the really successful ones that we see it doing.
Okay. No, and I've always appreciated that about, I think, what you guys do and helping with the promotion of it, because we talk a lot internally, but also with our members, right? It's, you can have something, but if it's not promoted, it's almost like the thing doesn't exist, right? It's like when somebody goes and buys a $200,000 machine and the guy who's pitching it to him at the convention says, all it's going to take is 3 or 4 more new patients a month. This thing pays for itself. But what's always my favorite part of that conversation is the doctor never asks, well, will you be getting the patients for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like, no, it'll actually just sit over there. You'll have the same number of patients. Your team won't be trained to actually create some value around it. And then I just think, there's countless ways where I think we can get that wrong, but memberships certainly fall into that category, right? So what separates the successful, let's say, launch or relaunch from all the other ones that they have it sits on the shelf, and, they almost forget it's even there?
Yeah. Again, a whole nother segment here, but there's so much viral marketing that can be done with a membership, and this is, again, something we help our clients with. We've seen everything from a flyer that goes to a small business park where their practice is, and say, hey, your small business employees, your whatever, salon owners, etc. We want to offer this to your patients to your employees. That's a great alternative for other small businesses. Going to other local retirement homes and facilities like that. It's an awesome thing that you can go, that, again, removes all the like complicated plans and coverages with insurance. Yeah. So it's something that somebody can do right now and sign up for your practice. So we've seen awesome ideas to work with a local pharmacy and do some sort of like little marketing on their pharmacy take-home bags. You should put them in your own take-home bags. If you're still doing sort of hygiene take-home bags, everybody should get a little, small postcard with a QR code that says, you or your family or anybody you know would love our membership. Click, scan here to learn more about it. Again, nobody should leave your practice, whether they have insurance or not knowing about your membership. And that's something, we have a whole content library that we provide for our clients. We have custom designers that can do stuff for them. Sponsoring a little league team on the outfield, no pay, no insurance, no problem, come to see our practice. So really just endless ways that you can get it out there. But you're absolutely right. You can't just have this be the afterthought that you only dig out of the file, like if the patient has nothing else. It should be, led. Your practice could absolutely lead with it.
Yeah, no, I love that, right? And I think, right, when I add a procedure, that's almost a no-brainer, right? Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Oftentimes people add procedures and they don't market those either. But, right, if I'm going to go and I'm going to, like, we work with a lot of people who are high performers in Invisalign, right? And so they are marketing the fact that they are an Invisalign provider, whatever status they are, right? Like, we're making sure that is known. Yeah. Like, why would you not do the same thing with the membership, right? Because you're doing it because you want to have more patients that are like that, where you get to own the relationship, which I think is great. So, so we want to market that up front, not just once they make it in the door.
Absolutely. And to all your patients. Like, we have a couple of clients that crush it with converting patients at open enrollment off of their insurance plans to their membership plans. So every single automated email that your system sends out at open enrollments, end of year benefits are coming or whatever, like, hey, open enrollments time's coming, have a little snippet in that email blast, whatever it says, like, if you are considering, or you should consider our membership instead of re-enrolling for insurance, or if you got a spouse or a family member, like, it should be on anything and everything. And I think, again, that's another misconception practices have is, I can only talk to patients without insurance. It's like, no, talk to everybody, because everybody should have this. And I think the last point on that is that this misconception of, like, should my membership just be a loss leader for us? No, it can be and should be a profitable thing for you. And I think that, again, that's another big issue that practices get into this thing of like, I met with a practice yesterday or last week that's multi-million dollar practice, huge practice, 300 new patients a month. I mean, talk about, new patients. And we talked about revamping their membership. And he was like, I don't know. It's just a loss leader. We just don't want more like tire kickers that come in. And I'm like, so it should be a profitable thing. It absolutely can be a profitable thing. It's not a discount thing. And two ways, can be profitable and lower your costs. And that's a double win for you as a practice.
Yeah. But that's probably where it requires, having somebody who knows what they're doing help you put it in place, Because I'm sure it can be, right? Like, I'm sure people can set it up and not really think through the economics of it. And then all of a sudden it is the free, it becomes the free first visit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. All right. Well, all right. I gave you a little bit of a heads up with this, but let's see if we can knock this out. Right?
Okay.
We got 10 things that people think are either not attractive or maybe they're just myths about memberships. And I want to get your expert opinion and what you have found to be true on all of these. Right. So we'll see, we'll burn through these. This is new patients now. We don't make any edits. So live action. Yeah. This is actually streaming live. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, surprise. No. Okay. So I think we've kind of already addressed this one, but number one, if you have a membership plan, patients may buy less dentistry. Is that true or false?
False. I'm going to have to say false. They're likely going to buy more dentistry. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And why is that? Just because I think that one's super important.
It's less confusing. It's more clear what they need to do. They're just going to accept treatment because it's clear and you've been able to present that. It's not complicated and confusing with insurance of what's going to cover and what's going to not. It's clear and here's your treatment that you need and here's how much it's going to cost. And people just like clarity and they need to trust the person that's telling them that. So the clarity is going to open the door to more production for sure, or more treatment just in general. Yeah.
Love that, right? We're just straight talk with the patient. Okay. Yeah. 2 was margin compression happens quickly. I think we actually just addressed that with the loss leader conversation. Yep. That I think if I have learned enough from you today, it is that happens if they set it up wrong. Is that accurate?
It can be. Yeah. Yep. If you don't look at your fee schedule and you just throw a number at the wall and don't look at your numbers, it could, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. 3, if I have a membership plan, it's adding operational complexity.
Ooh, yeah, you might have to spend more time planning team outings and more days off and a little longer days because you're going to have more operational complexity in scheduling your time off. No, it's supposed to simplify it. It should. Yeah, exactly.
Good. And at the end of the day, if you trade some time somewhere else, right, it's that net time, right?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, 4, patients start thinking like insurance customers. So like the same way somebody could walk in and think that, I'm an insurance driven person. I'm only going to buy the things that are insurance that are covered, right? I'm only going to do the things that are in my plan.
The good thing about a membership is that it's all included in your plan. There's no anything that's ruled out. There's no limits. There's no complexities. So they can absolutely stop thinking like insurance consumers. And they just think, what do I need to be healthier and better? And, they can say, what does my membership include? And you can say all kinds of stuff. There's no denials and no complications. So yeah, they will definitely stop thinking like insurance patients. Now, again, that's where some team culture comes in and having your team just living and breathing it and saying, we don't act like insurance patients here or whatever, you can have fun with that. But I think in general, they shouldn't start thinking like insurance patients. They should be persuaded to not.
Love that. Okay. 5, I think we can tag team this one. Memberships don't fix weak systems. This is my opinion. I think that's correct. If you have a terrible patient experience, if you don't know how to handle the intake of a new patient, you're probably not going to get this one right either. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I would say for sure. Yeah. No membership's nothing's going to fix a terrible patient experience. Yeah. Exactly. Insurance or not, or coffee in the lobby or not, if they have a terrible experience across the board. Yeah. Nothing's going to fix that. So that's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. I just shot a video with like this little like light glowing out of this suitcase. That would be like thinking the membership was just going to solve all the other problems that you've been ignoring in the practice. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, love it. Subscription patients can emerge. I think that's the same thing as thinking they're going to turn into insurance customers. So I think we can jump through that one. Nice, knocked it out. Team urgency will decline if I implement a membership plan.
If anything will happen when they have more time to spend with each patient and less running from room to room, it's amazing what will come out of that. So yeah, I don't think the urgency is going to die, but the genuine and quality of the conversations and culture you're building with your patients, I think, will increase. So I don't think urgency is going to decline, but I think franticness will decline. Chaos will decline.
Yeah, right. Urgent and out of control. Right? It's those are two different things. Sometimes we like to call them the same. All right. If I do a membership plan, or if I already have one, it's cannibalizing my best, highest value patients.
Ooh, no, I hear this all the time, especially if we start talking about the full fee for service practice. They're like, well, my patients are already, paying me the full so why would I want to give them a discount? It's like, well, you don't have to give them a discount, but if you make it into a membership, which is just a sort of bundled services over time, statistics show they're going to come back more. If I'm just paying for it as I go, pay as I go, as a fee for service would, then I'm kind of only going to come when I need to. But again, if they're buying into a membership, then they're buying into repeat visits, they're buying into loyalty and all those. If I'm just paying as I go, then if I see another offer down the road, I might go over there. So this idea that you're going to cannibalize your best patients by doing that, I think, is definitely a fallacy, because you're going to, I think, enrich your best patients will become more loyal and more compliant with a membership. Just another level of buy-in that they have with you in your practice.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to imagine too, if I'm maybe in the position where I'm happy to go to a fee-for-service practice, but maybe I have some people I would not have previously referred because you're fee-for-service. Right? Like, does the membership, I mean, I think that opens us up to a whole new group of patients that maybe would not have thought about it before. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's like a whole other category of an intake or inbound to your practice. People have this mindset, talk about, the consumer, insurance consumer. Now all of a sudden membership is a whole new avenue or a new format or context of relationship that I can have with the practice. So if I've just thought, well, I just have to go to Dr. So-and-so, I just got to pay every time, versus, hey, maybe I'm getting a little discount, or I'm getting some other perks. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Even if you don't give a discount, like, make it great. What are those other, again, perceived value, high value, low cost things that you can make your membership exclusive? Free oral cancer screening, a little free whitening here and there. I mean, you want to give them a stuffed animal when they go, you could do something like that. But like, there's so many things that you could have this awesome $900 a year perceived value, or on paper value membership, and sell it for $400 or $500 a year. And it's a massive thing that they're not going to get if they just sort of pay as they go. So
yeah. I think at the end of the day, right, if you end up getting 85% of what you got from these three, but they send you 10 more, like, I'll take that deal all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are legal and compliance risks with membership plans.
I'm glad that some of this sort of scare tactics stuff is going away. We don't like to operate like that as a company, but some other, pro membership people try to make that scare tactics sort of idea come in there. Are there legal and compliant? I wouldn't even say risks. They're very widely adopted in almost all 50 states, and even the ones that have a little more scrutiny as far as like legal compliance or what you can call it. And again, you don't call them insurance. There's some compliance around that, but this idea that it's this giant scary thing is so gone. In 2010, there was a little more. It was unknown. It was a little more of the Wild West as far as like formally adopted. You talk to most practices, and they're like, "We've had a plan for 30 years." They just haven't called it a plan, or it wasn't something. So now that it's become more mainstream, if you want to call it, I mean, ADA's got a website. You can click and find every single state and what the compliances are, and it's really simple and easy. And there's like 2 states that have a little bit of like hoops you got to jump through. But there's this fallacy again that it's a scary legal thing that you're going to get in trouble for. It's pretty dang easy,
Yeah. I'm sure the insurance companies had nothing to do with it. Right. That's super scary.
Right. Says who? The insurance companies? Yeah, they don't like that idea. Yeah.
It's very dangerous. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Okay. And then last one, number 10. So memberships can mask deeper growth problems. Specifically, if you have this predictable recurring revenue, it might give you some false confidence in some other underperforming areas.
I think we kind of touched on that one of the earlier ones. Like, is a membership going to fix a bad patient experience? No. And if there's some infrastructure problems, then adding membership's not necessarily going to fix it. In fact, it might expose it more because you're going to have more patients, and it might expose some other things a little deeper in your practice. Now, hopefully you get through those and you learn from them, you do some hard stuff and make some corrections, and then turn it right side up. It can be a good thing. So yeah.
So all in all, not quite as scary as I might have thought before. So I'll knock those down pretty quick. Well, hey, I think this is super insightful and just something that honestly I feel like is really under leveraged. And so if I'm listening to this, I'm a doctor, I'm a leader in a practice, and I'm like, oh, maybe a membership does work for us. Like, what's the process that they can go through to start that conversation with you guys and see if it's a fit for them?
So reach out to our website, smileadvantage.com. And, we really spend a lot of hands-on time with practices, whether it's a long conversation to kind of bring them a long way to believe in it, or to believe, or talking through complexities they have in their practice, or we tried that in the past and so-and-so didn't like it. I mean, we spend a significant amount of time, maybe too much at some point, I would think, as a CEO, but really kind of bringing people from where they're at to where they can be, and see the potential. So, if you have a conversation or questions about any of these topics that we randomly ripped off here, or ripped through, or you just want to make it better, or you're just curious. I mean, it's come a long way, and obviously we've built an incredible software platform that really automates a lot of this stuff and makes it easier, makes it more scalable. That's what we do, and we really are very, very hands-on, very white glove approach, very high quality product and service in our company, just like I know you do. So that we're here to help you. We're not going to just get you signed up and send you off with some training tutorials and say good luck. I mean, it's really, we've built our business on being that very hands-on, high quality service for our clients, just as I know most practices want to be that for their patients. So that's really what we are really, really big on at Smile Advantage. So if you got all kinds of questions, let us know. I won't bore you through a 35-minute boring demo. It typically starts with a 10, 15-minute phone call with myself or somebody on our team, and just talk through some high levels, and let's just cut to the chase. What's the biggest thing, instead of making you listen to this big proposal? And then we'll talk about our awesome software later on if you want to move on. But yeah, we're here to have the conversation. We're champions of membership and the dentistry, and just the overall positive impact it's having on the profession, the niche. Again, all these funny things. You may have more time to spend with your family. You may have less headache. I mean, there's a lot of great things. So
just disasters, Yeah. Love that. Well, hey, Ryan, thanks so much for jumping on. And I'll just say, for anybody who's considering it, if, it's part of what we said, it is a great tool. That does not mean you don't have to keep focusing on the important things in the practice, right? It is a great way to amplify what you're doing, to make a switch, but it's one that I think is really important that if you're going to do it, you commit to it and you lean into it, because that is how you're going to get the best result out of it, right? And I think any change or improvement into the practice with anything like this, that's what it takes. So before you have a conversation with Ryan and their team, maybe ask yourself if you're actually going to do the work, and I'll save you both some time.
Love it. You're absolutely right. Hit the nail on the head.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week.